Would you still want to grow to a large construction company if it meant bigger overheads, more pressure on cash flow, and the constant fear of things slowing down? I've spent years working closely with residential builders across Australia and the US, and I've noticed something uncomfortable. Some of the companies that look the strongest are often the most fragile underneath. Not because they build poorly, not because they don't care, and not because there isn't enough work in the market, but because of three quiet problems that only show up once the builder gets bigger. And they're honestly a bit sad to watch because most of the time these businesses were once incredible. Let's start with the first one. Growth built on referrals with overheads built for summer. Many builders go through a strong season. Referrals are flowing, projects are stacking up, cash feels healthy. So naturally they expand. More staff, more vehicles, a bigger office, new tools, more overhead to service the work, right? And in the moment, it makes sense because the work's there. But here's the quiet mistake. They grow their overheads without growing their client acquisition system. So the entire business becomes dependent on a season of referrals continuing forever. And when summer ends and winter comes, and it does, there's no control. The phone slows down, the pipeline thins out, and stress creeps in. And the same company that looked powerful months earlier is suddenly forced into painful decisions. Letting good team members go, giving up the office, perhaps selling some vehicles, scaling everything back down, not because they were bad builders, but because the growth was never protected. That one hurts to watch, but the second reason is even tougher, and that's the founders step back and the sales numbers collapse. As companies grow and the owner can't do everything anymore, they hire a sales team, which is the right move. But here's where things quietly fall apart. Most construction sales teams are poorly trained with no real structure and no clear processes. No understanding of how homeowners actually decide. So leads come in, but they're mishandled. The follow-up is slow. Conversations lack confidence. Trust isn't built properly. And conversation rates drop fast. At first, it's subtle, just a few missed opportunities, but over time, the numbers start going sideways. Revenue softens, margins tighten, and pressure builds, and suddenly everything that looked stable gets exposed because the founder stepping back only works when the sales system is stronger than the founder himself. Most aren't, and that leads me to the third reason, which might be the saddest of them all, which is refusing to change because the past once worked. Some builders built great businesses 5, 10, even 20 years ago through reputation, hard work, word of mouth, old school sales styles. And that history deserves respect. But the market changed, homeowners changed, competition got better, marketing changed, speed changed, yet many companies keep operating like it's still the old world. They market the old way, sell the old way, avoid mentoring, ignore proven guidance, and slowly they become disconnected from how modern clients actually choose a builder. Not loudly, but gradually, until the gap becomes impossible to ignore. And by then, catching up feels overwhelming. That's the real tragedy here because none of these struggles come from a lack of skills. They come from a lack of adaptation. Here's the truth most people won't say out loud. Big construction companies don't usually fail because of poor craftsmanship. They struggle because of unprotected growth, untrained sales, and unwillingness to evolve. And the opposite is also true. The builders who stay long-term do these three simple things differently. They build predictable client acquisition before expanding overhead. They create structured sales systems that don't rely on the founder, and they stay open to change even when the past was successful. Because the real strength in construction isn't how you grow in the summer, it's whether you're still strong in the winter. If this perspective feels different to most construction advice online, that's intentional. Builders don't need more noise, you need more clarity. If you want to learn how to build a simple framework that creates stability, predictable growth, check the link below. And if this helped you see the industry differently, subscribe and I'll keep sharing what's happening inside real building companies so you can grow the right way.